Growth and development have very little to do with the destination and have everything to do with the journey. You will always plan it out, but it will never go as expected.
This is the perfect setting for like a horror movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lost in fucking California.
Somebody would come and slash me and my blood would fall, hit the cement, and it would boil.
Well, you've got your physical aspect of the journey, which is always what I would consider more of an adventure, because I look at journeys as adventures, which are always welcome. And I think this was one of the better adventures, even if it didn't turn out quite as exactly what you expected. I thought it was pretty successful.
You're speaking Spanish.
So when we decided to go on a journey over 12 years ago, things did not go as according to plan.
They're out of gas. We just need a map.
We're virgins. They were San Diego Comic-Con virgins. They all had specific goals in mind. When we went on this road trip, mine was to make a documentary about the journey there, San Diego Comic-Con, the craziness that would ensue, and the journey back. That was my goal.
Power to the swag people. Can you dig it? Ah, damn it. I missed my moment. You know what? It's my damn film franchise. I can say whatever I want, okay?
My motivation was I just wanted to go because I'd never been, and it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I was the only person in the group that actually bought comic books and read comic books.
There was a booth in there that has nothing but comic books.
Yeah, I got some
It was awesome.
books.
I wanted to go for, serious, spiritual, nostalgic reasons.
Now, I have no idea what's gonna happen. That's the beauty of a documentary.
There was a tornado in San Diego County yesterday.
Oh, sweet.
It was on the news. It's crazy.
We drove 12 hours each way for this.
Are you more? Wait. Yeah.
I like silly people in costumes. That actually.
Costume you've seen that you like the most?
What's the guy from Sin City? Yeah, very small Mickey Rourke.
All we really need are three things: food, water, and shelter. Everything else is extra. So why in America have we, myself included, think that we deserve and should get whatever we want? On our journey, we didn't realize any of that. We were just, doing a road trip to a Comic-Con and back. But I think it affected everybody's lives differently. And everybody has their own story to tell about how that affected them.
Journey, when I think about it now, comes down to two things. Journey used to mean a synonym for adventure. Now it is a synonym for growth. Being a writer myself, I always think of Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey and how that applies to the ancient myths, but also how we tell stories. We told those stories back then for a reason, and that process is reflected in our everyday lives.
The older you get, the more clearly you can look backwards and see how immature you were. And I had a very immature view of journey. The whole concept of journey. It's very destination based. And you go there and you do the thing, and yay, now you go on another journey. Now you see it. I see it in a much bigger picture as the rest of your life.
I think why we did that journey was I invited these guys and they were up for an adventure.
It's a good thing we left at 4. I mean 5. I mean 6.
We're at the home of Aaron Cole, and we're picking out to take him with us, and look what we found. Free wood.
And then off we were. We're hoping to get to Las Vegas by 10 o'clock. We stopped in Beaver.
We're gonna get some food here at Mel's Drive-In in Beaver because the traffic was so bad.
And behind me, you might be able to see I Heart Beaver, which everybody loves Beaver, Utah. So I am within 2 hours of a journey back to San Diego. And the reason I'm doing that is for a film project with my friend Jason Velasco. So this is very cool. It is 2018, and sometimes you just got to retrace your steps.
So nothing for free.
Yeah, we can get you something for free, I'm sure.
Thank you very much.
Like a mini twist cone?
Like we don't have twist.
This is free, and because it's free, I plan on taking one.
We get to Vegas and we come to a complete stop on the freeway again. They divert us off of the freeway, down the strip.
Get you off the highway into the strip.
But we got to San Diego, and the first problem that happened was got to a hotel in, I don't know, 30 miles outside of San Diego.
You can make a reservation in America, but that doesn't mean anything.
The room wasn't ready for us.
And so they're leaving. Maybe we could take their room. Maybe somebody should ask them if they're trying to check out. Maybe we can check out for them. Let's wait and see what happens. This guy might be checking out. If they check out, need to clean it. Well, I'll clean it.
So we had to figure out where we were going to stay. So that was exciting, and everyone was a little testy because we drove all night. That was our first foray into things just not happening as we planned. It's another thing I do is I wait. I wait for funding. People tell me they're gonna fund my movies. And I and other filmmakers are in the same boat. We're almost always waiting for funding. That's what we do. We drive around, like I'm doing right now. I'm driving around waiting for funding. I'm driving around taking phone calls.
Take a few days and let me know like what is the minimum amount to the point where you walk away from. So
Copy.
if I had said, hey, we got 80, that means you got to say that doesn't work. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Ciao. And sometimes they're good phone calls, like that one. My story starts back in 2006 when I went to the San Diego Comic-Con, and I was just there with my friend Adrian Velasquez.
We wear the Walmart vest.
Very important person in my life.
But the funny thing is, if you take a step back even further, the 3-act structure can be compounded on itself. Every aspect of the 3-act structure, every step within the hero's journey can be 3 acts in itself. There was a whole act that happened before we went on that journey. You had went to Comic-Con and started shooting the first documentary.
How much free stuff can there be?
It tastes better because it's free.
Free stuff, cool.
Why do you like free stuff?
I know you don't have to pay for it.
Because it's a lot cheaper.
More money for more useless junk.
Oh, I've got to have that.
You really need that many Narnia posters? So that's not the same thing.
You just saw that there was just this insanity that was happening with swag.
He's coming over here trying to post right now.
Those people who just don't even know what the poster says, but they'll take the poster because it's there.
You and Adrian were like, let's do something about this, and you did it.
At 3 o'clock is my movie. It's called Swag Volume 1.
I love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for my copy of Swag Volume 1.
Swag Volume 1, of course I watched it.
Did you like the film?
I didn't just like it. Tell him.
He loved it.
I'm speechless.
I had to wipe it down with Windex after he was done with it. He liked it so much.
I couldn't live without swag. You should see my apartment. It's all free stuff.
Here's some swag for you. Surge of power button.
Jason has Tourette syndrome. Swag!
So for me, Journey used to be about accepting things as they come. Now for me, Journey is about the people along the way.
Who's gonna kick my ass? Who was that?
That was me.
Oh, you!
This is the 3rd movie. We keep making these movies. We're out of control. We're out of control. We're out of control.
Handler for Roger Corman. I got his phone number.
We're waiting here with nothing better to do. Waiting for Roger Corman. Roger Corman is 13 minutes late. With 100 films that he was involved with, he has the right to be late.
And Aaron Cole is here. I just got an interview
with one of the Johnsons from Die Hard.
I'm Agent Johnson. This is Special Agent Johnson.
Oh, how you doing? I did some posters for the San Diego Pretzel Company a while ago. Didn't charge them any extra setup fees. I just did the job for them. All of a sudden, we run into the guy here, and we have free food. This would have been $9 for 2 pretzels and a drink, but it's free.
Do they taste better because they're free?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, they do.
We'll see you for sure, and we'll know to give you a t-shirt now when you're walking around with that on your head. So, you'll be the first one to receive a t-shirt.
This beats the t-shirt thing from last year. How do I get a free shirt? Because I got one last year, and I remember what happened last year.
What happened last year?
Oh, you don't want to know.
About the people along the way and how much people like Adrian mean to me, and Aaron, and Lauren, and Antonio. And then we meet different people along the way, like Vincent Roth.
We did make buttons for Surge of Power because it's a great swag item. So people can actually like see the superhero, or they can wear the emblem and be the superhero.
There were a lot of physical hurdles, like heat,
Beads of sweat balling up on his feet.
food,
We're about to go eat free food.
trying to find each other.
Where's Lauren? Lauren?
Lauren's trying to get a free pretzel.
Yeah.
He's working it.
I've been offering him pretzels all day, just for the record. The father me now, which it was not then, would say, oh, bring lots of napkins, make sure you bring plenty of underwear, a towel.
No. Where your towel is.
Lots of water. Is there water in the car?
We have free water.
Bring plenty of water. How much money do you have? Do you have cash? Not everybody takes credit card. You gotta have some cash.
There's free stuff everywhere. It's not something that's ever gonna end. No matter what's happening in our world politically, there's always free stuff that get people. And the whole concept that I believe that's evolved over 30 years of comic conventions in general, is where's the swag?
There is one item I'm looking for. It's a shirt with a W on it, along with these fans.
Get your Final Destination 3 fan. They're free.
Spells the word control the drive.
And they didn't work at all. There was no air movement provided by them.
Stuff is always important to people. Like, how much stuff do I have?
If you didn't have so much goddamn stuff, you wouldn't need a house. You could just walk around all the time.
George Carlin used to do a stand-up routine on stuff.
That's all your house is? It's a pile of stuff with a cover on it. You see that when you take off in an airplane and you look down and you see everybody's got a little pile of stuff. Everybody's got their own pile of stuff. And when you leave your stuff, you gotta lock it up.
My home is kind of like this quiet, no one's allowed in this bubble sort of space. This is our little space. And we saw it being filled up with just shit. And so we cleared out all the stuff.
I mean, look at this. This is disgraceful. And to have this like...
It sounds like a garbage word. Just stuff. It does not sound romantic. It does not sound enticing.
Down the main aisle is all this garbage. And it's something I've never seen at Comic-Con before.
I actually got rid of my bag of swag because it was kind of cramping my style. All of like the little tchotchkes and little souvenirs. God, what the fuck are souvenirs? It's garbage that you just carry around from whatever.
Chance to talk to Frank Cho. He was nice enough to let us have free sketchbook, which is something you would want to purchase at a bookstore. If you get a chance, read Liberty Meadows, anything by Frank Cho.
To be honest with you, I kind of like it. I mean, it's really, it's definitely the place to be once a year, you know, because it's like...
What was the true joy of getting the book was the fact that Frank Cho gave me a book. I mean, it's been over a decade, and I still idolize the guy. I hope that one day I can give him a book for free.
Everything that a fanboy, likes. Comics, movies, video games, toys, and women dressed in costumes.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
So I was at Target and wound up buying some Kiss characters. So I was like, oh, I gotta get a couple Kiss characters to stick next to the lounge chair. It's a trap.
Dude, it's a camera.
It's a trap.
It's horrible.
I know I can't do Akbar. You do a good Akbar.
It's a trap!
So you sound like him. I'm always collecting stuff, whether it's free or toys or little interesting things. That last movie with Carrie Fisher flew through space.
Leia flew through space.
That was terrible. She was already dead in real life. They should have just killed her. These were given away by heebie-jeebies before they moved locations, so not necessarily swag, but some of these were really cheap, which is great because I can kind of finish up my early Star Wars collection. Maybe repair some of this old stuff. This is probably from 1979, 1980. Akbar died in a trap, didn't he?
Akbar died in a trap in Last Jedi.
Growing up in a very low-income household, you find a lot of joy in getting things or just gather things, and it gave you an initial rush of happiness, of accomplishment. Over time, I've seen that for what it was. It's funny, my choice to not gather things at the convention really was a reflection of what I was going to try to become later in life.
Swag is the purpose of a con. Stuff we all get.
It starts small. It starts really small. And then all of a sudden, how many more t-shirts can I get? How many more posters can I get?
Good job.
How many more buttons can I get?
You can put buttons anywhere.
And none of this stuff is useful.
Well done. It's watching people be greedy at its best. 12 seconds to empty that damn bowl.
I don't even know what I grabbed.
And then what was the little tchotchke in the green bowl? It took 12 seconds to empty.
And a flashlight.
Oh shit, a compass. Have you just blamed global warming on swag? I did. I'll say it right now. It's swag. Swag did it, baby. And you know what? Jimmy Hoffa, swag. No joke, dude. No joke. I'm Italian. Jimmy Hoffa is swag. I'm authorized to say that. No, Jimmy, he's gone because of swag.
Here first.
Jimmy's in somebody's swag bag. No joke. No joke. They never did find the body. Don't tell him I said that. I ain't one to gossip. You didn't hear that from me.
What are you gonna do with that?
I don't know. Everything's hurting.
Everything's hurting.
Is it painful to have so much swag? Free stuff hurts.
We ran into this kid the last day of Comic-Con. He had 2 bags, all full of stuff. And we asked him, what are you going to do with all that stuff? And he said, well, nothing. I just collected all this stuff because it was all free. We is an interesting word. We are a community and we try to get through these things. Right now, community is a little weird, you know, it's weird. People say there's a community on Facebook and there's a community in the world, and everybody's fighting for their own community in regards to race, and everything's kind of crazy right now. When we made that documentary so many years ago, it took on a new meaning for me about goals and teamwork. I'm in the film industry and that's what it's all about.
I tell them to be places and then they leave.
No, they didn't get to Comic-Con right on time when I wanted, but then I heard the story.
40-minute train ride, and we had AC for about 1 minute of that.
I don't think any of us expected the heat that day. We were staying at this very cheap motel far away from the convention center.
Not a train, I don't know if it's the right one. This is my first time ever on a train, in fact. Actually, that's all guys.
The light rail trains have windows, but they're not meant to open. People were just getting ridiculously hot.
Everyone started sweating because everyone started noticing that the heat was going up and up and up and up.
Lauren was standing there. He's just got on like shorts and sandals and a light t-shirt, and there's just this pool of water growing underneath him of just sweat. He's making a swimming pool of sweat underneath him.
We stop and we're like trying to block the doors at each stop to kind of keep the door open.
Our friends were sweating profusely and leaking all over the seats.
All the windows have like a little lock on them.
And I remember people were trying to figure out how to open the windows.
Old ladies were getting ready to pass out. Babies were crying.
I realized the notch could be twisted with like a coin or a key or something.
I took credit cards out of my wallet to open windows.
And we're snapping the locks on the windows. And I get the first one to snap open. Maybe it made a 4-degree difference in the train. Maybe it was just the fact that there was airflow, but it just changed everything. Got over everyone thinking, oh God, they're gonna think I'm but they're all looking at me like little starving Ethiopian children. They're like, me too, me too. And it started this viral thing. Everybody started jumping up and trying to open them, and then we got the whole thing opened. In a way, it was like a weird teamwork thing. We started doing it. Next thing you know, the whole train is working as a team just to try to get us to a survivable point.
Hell, and the train that goes to it.
Then a representative from transit comes in and opens the rest of the windows.
I hope you filmed some of it.
That's terrorism.
You can't film on the trolley. You can't film on this train because of terrorism.
Well, that train ride there, Lauren.
Ditto.
I was not on the train ride where my friends, my crew, who were supposed to be shooting, were being superheroes almost.
Saviors of the people on that train.
There were snakes, I heard, and so they had to fight off the snakes, and that took some time, so...
Whoa! What's that? It's a snake. Snake in the con. Snakes on a plane. There's actually a film called Snakes on a Train. They made Snakes on a Train to come out at the same time Snakes on a Plane. And I saw Snakes on a Plane and there was a snake on my back. And then we're just getting a bunch of swag. Snakes in the con. I think they're falling from the freaking sky.
You just have to get through these things. Or you just give up.
Never give up. Never surrender.
Oh, shut up. As my shirt says, never give up.
Never surrender.
And that's what's important.
Never give up. Never surrender.
So we couldn't have gotten back from our journey without each other. So cliche as it is, that's what it means to me in regards to my life and how it's helped me grow.
You, the audience, could feel my clothes, you would quench your thirst.
As far as a group effort, that was really good. Kind of preparation for further work I did with film later from that point, which is, you know, and it's good to work with a small crew and you can still get a lot done. I worked with big film crews as well, but this was really kind of a concise effort.
Free stuff. Free stuff. Free stuff.
Anytime I can get it, I take it.
Say swag and Chewbacca.
Last night when Mario and I were on the trolley heading home, here is a mom and a dad, and they had 4 kids. And they were homeless. It makes me crazy that they're throwing just shirts away and hats away and just giving it away to whomever wants it. And if you go down to the front entrance, you'll look in any garbage can, there'll be hats, there'll be t-shirts people don't want. But at the same point, I'm having this moment, I almost came to tears seeing his family on the trolley. Aside to that, there's a couple organizations that do round up things that they can, leftovers from things like this.
It's got a lot of great locations just right here, like that alleyway we shot a couple of shows in, just parts of films, and I think one time it was New York and one time it was Chicago. And
This kind of has a San Diego feel a little bit in this part.
in the summer, yeah, around the water feature especially. And so, of course, before we came down here, we knew we were going to be filming with a prop gun, but a gun. And so people were going to see us with the gun out, so we made sure we called the police and let them know where we were shooting and what we were doing. And they're like, oh, you're going to block traffic? No, okay. Be safe.
When I think of the word all, I think of how this world is playing out more like a movie. It's like this weird, absurdist, alternate timeline. It's like Doc and Marty got in their time machine, went back and fucked up the past, and now we're living in an alternate universe of where Biff Tannen is running the country. So that's what I think about in regards to like where we are as a country.
In 2018, I find myself doing something interesting. That is, I don't make a point to start interactions with people, especially people of the opposite gender. Community is the most important thing that's ever happened to humanity, and we're losing our sense of it. We're isolating ourselves more, and we're just not connecting.
So much division And it feels by design.
Even though this is more about a journey to Comic-Con and what happened, it makes me think about really how this world is progressing and how things seem out of control. But you look at things and you go, how can this be? Even though things are politically weird and messed up, things like conventions still go on and people's lives still continue.
That's Bruce Campbell's signature right there, 71505. That's fantastic, brother.
I'm gonna keep. I've had this bag for over 3 years. Like I said, I take it every con I go to. So
that is awesome.
I hate to think that Sam Raimi's getting really rich off of action figures of you.
Well, he probably is. What does he give a shit about Army of Darkness? He's got Spider-Man.
Documentary, what's your name?
Cindy.
Cindy, I'm a legitimate filmmaker. I don't make negative stuff, okay? I'm trying to change the world. How do you feel about swag?
Oh,
Superman tattoo swag.
I like it.
Why?
Because I like Superman.
It hurts us when they tell people that we should sign stuff for nothing. You know, that's not right.
Why do you like free stuff? Other than it's just free. Tell me something different.
Make her cry.
I know. Oh, Jesus, I don't want to make her cry.
You're scaring the poor girl.
I think everyone's a celebrity.
Great, thank you so much.
you're welcome. Have a great time, guys. Okay?
He's the best independent filmmaker you know. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
All right, you have a
Enjoy
good
the convention, guys. All right.
Thank you.
There's a lot to see and do out here.
All right, take care.
God bless.
Thank you.
I get no free no, actually, I get a lot. Okay, people come by with T-shirts, more T-shirts, and more T-shirts. I want pants. Okay, I have plenty of shirts. Not too many people have come by and belligerently asked for free stuff. This is a whole different crowd from last year. Do all this and make all these pictures up and all this stuff, and none of it's for nothing, you know. So, in that respect, I think it's kind of a bummer. Time is not free. It's not swag.
So you have some swag. It's an opportunity to make you look like and feel like you are somebody. If you got some swag, that means you got a bag. And if you got a bag, you got to put something in that bag. And that's what we're here to supply.
I like to pay for stuff. I don't like to get anything for free, personally, because if somebody's work is behind it, then I think they ought to be paid.
Jack!
I guess I just attract a certain element no matter what century I'm in.
They pay to come in here and they're giving promotional stuff away. That's cool. I have no problem with that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, man, that's out of sight. They sell their wares. Somebody might remember somebody and they'll go, oh yeah, that guy gave me a free thing. I'm going to buy his next deal or whatever. So that, I don't. But if, such as us, you know, I mean, we're old-time Hollywood actor guys, you know, and they bring us into these things. We're supposed to sell these pictures.
Right.
And then not where you're gaffing the public, but enough to where the fans, they dig it, they buy it, and you know, everybody's happy.
I remember doing the interview with you, but no, I remember you. If you love free stuff, oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Meeting Sam J. Jones and his sort of ragtag little, he wasn't even on the main convention floor. He was like on a side panel area, and he talked with us and he asked if he had signed a NDA for the previous documentary. He's like,
did I sign a release for this? I did. You're right. You're right. Okay. Okay, and all the multi-million-dollar residuals are...
That's pretty fun. Free stuff.
Meeting celebrities gives you a sense of high. It gives you a sense of excitement. It takes the gods and it makes them human. And then you connect with them and you feel great about yourself. And then you go back home and you say, I met this person. I got a photograph with this person. And William Shatner told me a dumb joke while he was taking a photo with me.
We made a movie. We shot it right here last year. It's going to be showing right in here, 26AB, in about 20 minutes. If you can check it out, that would be awesome.
It's free.
It's free. Because it's free. If they charged 1 penny for it, they wouldn't give a f*** on it.
Funny you should mention free. Another thing to do is create your own swag.
And what about those people who just don't even know what the poster says.
Back in 2006, it was only 5 years away from one of the most uniting experiences in modern American history, 9/11. So, and that's when everybody came together and conversations started and people communicated and they listened and they weren't incredibly reactive. Now, flash forward 2018, we have so much division.
It saddens me because, I mean, if you think of the aspect in the train when it got hot, we worked as a community to solve a problem.
Now, I was trying one thing and Lauren was trying another thing, and we're like, okay, well, let's try this other thing, and we kind of worked together and find the thing that worked, and then we were able to accomplish the goal, and everybody on the train benefited. We could have gone up and down every car and done it.
But now we're too scared to work together because we're just too consumed with what horrible things we could do to each other.
In the film industry or in the comic book industry or in the TV industry, there's a lot of people to help make these dreams come true. 12 people, 20 people, 100 people, 200 people on a crew. We made a documentary with 4 people. It can be done. It's hard, but it can be done. Just don't sit around thinking about what you can do. Go out and do it. Just like Shia LaBeouf says.
Just do it! A store called Big Lots. You go to Kmart, wherever. You buy yourself some school supplies. They were 79 cents. Okay. It is swag, if you notice. You put a sticker on it, it's swag.
I'm here from San Diego. The filmmaking thing, it's kind of a thing that I do, but I do have a real job.
So what's in your bag?
What's in my bag?
Oh, he's got a hat for me.
When we were on the train, I want to say it was the second day, there was a girl, I would say she was probably 20 years old. She was sitting alone. This was just after the first season of the reboot of Doctor Who had come out. I saw this girl and she was reading a Doctor Who book. And it was very hard to find those Doctor Who books. I think you could only find them in England. I walked over, I sat down, and I started talking with her. We probably talked the whole entire train ride, and I think the guys asked me, like, did you get her number? I'm like, no, I didn't get her number. It wasn't about that. We had this bond. It had everything to do with this aspect of escape that was important to both of us. I don't know if I'll ever have that again in my life with the way that things are and the way that things will be. It's just too scary. We only see the implications of all the negative interactions between people that we just assume that the worst will happen.
I travel around to grocery stores across the country and make sure that the bacon is properly salted. Like all of this division, and then you have two kind of basic groups. You have everybody in the middle, and then you have these two basic groups. People who are so intolerant that they feel so entitled that they've gotta shit on that person. It's like their duty to troll someone. If it's online or in person, it's even worse. Then you have the heroes for the people who without a voice, except they do have a voice. They have a very clear voice, but no. I have a better voice than they do. I'm gonna go out and save the fucking world and make everyone's life hell, and you have to conform to what I believe saving the world is. You can't have a society like that. And me, I've drawn so far back from all of that. Shows itself in my writing, where I write a film that it's about connectivity and coming together. There's a series I do that one of the rules, it's all improvised, but one of the rules is we know each other and we like each other, or at least we want to like each other. It's very satisfying to me, and it's my little quiet in the corner war against division.
This day and age, you gotta do what you gotta do and move forward from A to B. And you got no GPS in life. You can't just ask Siri, how do I get from point A to point B? You gotta tell her more specifically what the fuck you're doing. I need to go from here to here, and you put in your coordinates. Well, if you got no coordinates in life, you're just gonna be a loser. I don't know where I'm going with this. I gotta make sure I get my exit.
Not everybody's gonna get everything they want necessarily. I think anything free these days is almost out of the ordinary. And maybe it should be, I don't know. It just depends on how the economy goes. And it always tends to go to the Those with have more, those without are having less.
Get is the word that really is getting to me right now. I couldn't imagine when we made this documentary that 12 years later, we'd be talking about the president we have right now and how people think they deserve things that they don't deserve. All we really need, food, water, and shelter. Those are really, when it comes down to it, doesn't matter who says anything on Facebook, it doesn't matter what's tweeted. Those are the only three things we actually need, and that's just been fucking lost.
Had zero value, but in the moment, it was more important than water in a desert. The first time I saw this obsessive movement of people in regards to swag was over just these little pamphlets for some movie, an object that I would be surprised if any of them owned today.
One of the other pieces of swag we're giving out are dead locusts.
So you wouldn't pick up a dead locust in a box?
Pretty ridiculous. This is swag, but you have to earn it. You have to like collect and then go and they give you a ticket.
Hello.
The other side of the water tower.
Thank you.
A fake bug in a piece of plastic.
It's real.
It's a real bug?
Get, deserve, entitled to. These are concepts that I have a real hard time with.
There you are.
My daughter, she's been sticking in back with the
Well, it's just one
registration.
other person.
Oh, so she can't get out here.
There you
She's
go.
working in registration. She's been working there all
There you
day.
are.
You have the right to speak your mind, but you don't have the right to intentionally try and hurt somebody.
People were bumping into each other. I had like a 4-year-old try to kick me in the shin to get around me to get some Adult Swim stuff. So we are swagless right now. To get swag at Comic-Con, that's kind of what it's coming down to.
Yes, we've seen that.
It was crazy trying to get the swag.
Did you say 4-year-old?
Yeah. Yeah.
You were swagless
Yeah,
because
we are.
of a 4-year-old?
I know. It's because I'm a nice person. I didn't want to kick him back.
What you put out, you will get back. And that's very metaphysical, but it's true. And if you put positivity out into the world, you're going to get positivity back.
Swag is awesome.
You like free stuff?
Yes.
Will you go around the Comic-Con and get free stuff?
Oh yes, absolutely. I can get free stuff for you anytime, senor.
Snakes on Green Lantern.
Think about when somebody goes to a baseball game and a foul ball's hit and they have to have that ball. It is a reflection of the fact that they'd been there.
With the W, where do I get it? Where is that shirt? It's that way.
I think it's that way.
Are you lying?
Absolutely not.
People spend a lot of money and time to get to these conventions, to get to these places. When they get there, they need to get their money's worth. And I'm speaking both monetarily, but also emotionally. Sometimes we forget that it's the moment, the experience that matters. They think these objects are that. So if I gather them, then I'm winning, I'm experiencing this. A tattoo on my arm, tattoo on my leg. The guy that made these, that designed these tattoos, I met him there.
Andy Lee. About a tattoo design that he did for a character in a comic book. I met with him, he was busy doing autographs, so I'm gonna go and back and talk to him at Artist Alley.
He was there and I was shocked. And that is what is important.
My nickname is Bloody Mary. When I went into business, I do all this makeup, I manufacture makeup.
This is what swag is all about. I'm a filmmaker, I'm doing a horror movie, she gives me free blood. This is a taste. This is like the crack. The first one's free.
When Frank Cho gave me the book, it wasn't the physical book that mattered, it was Frank Cho interacting with me, speaking to me in my eyes. Way more important than meeting Michael Jackson, in my opinion.
One of the other insights I got is every single person alive will change the world. You will change the world in some way. Is it a net positive or a net negative? You get to decide.
Saviors of the people on that train.
And your attitude is 100% of that.
Here we are, we're filmmakers, we just want to express ourselves. Comic book artists, we just want to express ourselves. We need to not worry about becoming famous. We need to more worry about just letting people hear us. And if you don't make a dime, who cares? Get a job.
and then just do it on the side. But just try to stay happy and do what you want to do and express yourself.
That's it.
Chris Watson, who has made the Troma classics Slaughter Party and Zombiegeddon, and they're micro-budget movies. He works in a liquor store. He's happy, and he makes his own damn movies on the side, and he's made about 7 feature-length movies.
Just keep the line moving.
Sometimes we forget that it's the moment, the experience that matters. I would recommend to them, leave the majority of your funds at home, leave any sort of recording device at home, and just walk.
Valid point.
The whole first day you guys didn't see me because I'd met a friend that I'd been speaking with on the internet for a long time, and we literally spent the whole day just walking, talking, pointing things out, and that was better than any object I probably would have bought there.
Food, definitely food. Coffee.
It's definitely a window to a new side of reality.
Not necessarily getting worse, it's just always going to be.
4-year-old tried to kick me in the shin.
I think that when you see those feeding frenzies and when you see those people hoarding those things, they're really trying to live. The one thing that all humanity is trying to do, but they're just a little misguided.
How old you two were?
Pierce your nipples and hang pretzels from them. Caveman robot!
And entitlement, like, I don't have to work for this, you should just give it to me. And you can name anything, and this attitude of mine has a lot of pushback. Well, you deserve these basic rights, and these basic, and these basic, and these. Well, you need to earn those things, and you need to do what you are supposed to do to make those things available.
Just look at the mentality of what the pack mentality that happens at a convention. The next time you go, just recognize what happens when free stuff comes out.
You have a day job, it's photo related, filmmaking thing, it's kind of a thing.
He wants that pretzel. Things that you can do for a pretzel.
We've lost a member of our team who was a part of our story. Adrian passed away from mesothelioma. He made fun of me all the time because I couldn't say mesothelioma. Mesothelioma is horrible. And he survived for a long time. He became one of 5 people who lived with this thing longer than he should have.
We got an extra 4 years with him when it was supposed to take him quick. He just kept surviving. And we're like, that's fantastic. Maybe we found something. And then near the end of the shooting, it started to get pretty bad.
Just such a dear friend. He was such a gentle person, and we all loved him dearly, and he became a part of the family. Without him and doing the first documentary, there wouldn't have been a third documentary.
Because remember, swag is not just a free giveaway.
And I wouldn't have met Vincent Roth, who is very important to me as well, because we went on later to make Vincent's movie, Surge of Power, Revenge of the sequel.
Is the battle station online?
Affirmative, Surge.
Can we talk about how we're going to deal with the Metal Master? Being a sequel really allowed us to open up the world. It's kind of amazing at how much room you have to maneuver, not having to deal with the origin, because the origin was dealt with in the first film. So in the sequel, you see Surge, pull over and get gas in the Surgemobile and walk around the convenience store talking to one of his tech helpers, using a restroom, things like that you don't normally see, superheroes do.
Will be in the movie?
Saturday night.
Says they just gotten out of their cars. The other guy says, I'm parched.
Adrian, script supervisor.
I didn't have a connection with Adrian like Mario did.
Wait, she looks like she came from next door. We're heading to China now. Not quite sure what it means, but...
You got like 0.01% alcohol, so I figure you got to drink 100 times as much to get the same buzz you would with a regular beer.
when the Troma team's not making those great movies like Toxic Avenger and Citizen Toxie, we like to kick back and watch Swag Volume Blue.
My interactions with him was over a couple-day period.
Adrian was great. He was a fun guy to know. We got the Ghostbusters. I'm glad he was there. It was a really fun experience. I've seen a lot of loss lately. I probably lost about 10 friends in the past 2 years. Just part of life, I suppose. It's just interesting how many creative people I've lost. Dealing with painters and musicians, and I'm adjusting to loss a little better, having dealt with quite a bit of it recently. And it's always sad, and it's always kind of makes you think, how little time you might have and what kind of things you need to do with your time. And I'm still a little too lazy, but I've got to get, I keep going at it, which is, it keeps you going. A friend from work who has seen some recent caricatures, who just sent me a picture, so I'm going to mail this to him from his glory rock and roll days. It's just a little cartoon I'm doing.
My first experience with Adrian was actually seeing him on screen.
I think he left with that girl. I think the girl's gonna start. Lauren.
We were waiting outside of his condo. He invited us in, and I have this obsession with cleanliness. Like, I shower twice a day, and it was the first thing I asked. I was like, can I use your shower? And he was like, of course, of course. I remember I was shaving my head, and Adrian, he had saw me, and he's like, do you mind if I take pictures? And I was like, I don't mind at all. And I was literally just wearing a towel, and I had shaving foam on my head, and he was just taking pictures of me. It didn't bother me that somebody would appreciate who I was. His generosity was well deserving of anything that I could give him. I mean, there was no sexuality there, but he just was appreciative of me, and I was appreciative of him.
Doesn't it feel good to touch Lauren?
Oh, it does.
It was a very fun experience for having a very first time interaction with somebody.
So one of the very supportive, generous things that Adrian did, he came up and he spent the weekend with us and played this role. The whole show ended up kind of getting scrapped, but it was really cool of him to drop everything, fly up from San Diego.
I am drinking beer. It is special beer for the movie industry. It contains 0.01% alcohol, which means you have to drink 100 times the amount of beer.
It was a fun concept, and the enthusiasm to participate and support that natural instinct of I don't give a shit, I'll come and do it anyway.
Loss doesn't have to mean be sad and don't live your life. What do you value? And how did those people lead you to other people in your life?
It's kind of a very existential thing, but what is left is everything, the net positive that was put into the world, the attitudes that live on in me and other people that those individuals have touched.
I like my superheroes flaming!
Whatever works. I'll get you when you least expect it.
I have premonitions. I always expect it.
And just before it was finished, Adrian passed. In fact, there was a hard drive with a copy of near final cut that was waiting for him to watch basically on his deathbed, and he passed before he could see it. So it was that close, and that was a very sad time.
When you meet people and you don't interact with them, your image of them stays the same. To hear that suddenly that person that you have this perfect image in their head is just no longer there, it comes one as a shock that they went through this long experience of suffering with an illness, and then to be gone, to know that I'm never going to see that person again.
It doesn't hurt anymore.
The thing that comes to my mind is any possible interactions I could have had with him, any time that we would have created memories together, it's all gone. That was the hardest thing.
Vincent didn't give up on his movies. It got costly there after year 5. So you spend 400 hours editing anything. That's time. And time equals money. That's 400 hours you weren't on set making money. So
reaching those goals, that's the magic. And the moment that you give up on trying to achieve that goal is the moment that you choose to not move forward.
Failure only happens because of something stopped. That's it. Failure of a friendship, failure of a marriage, failure of a film. It only happens because of a choice was made to stop. So if you don't stop, if you don't give up, then failure can't really take over. But if you do stop, whatever it is, then of course that's a failure. Some of us wish the president would just stop.
And it was a big deal. I mean, there was a lot of things that happened there that were huge to me.
In 5 years, I guarantee you I will be on that stage. I can't guarantee that I'll be winning an award, but I will. The Eisner Award stage. It's a guarantee. In 10 years, I will be at least recognized in some fashion.
Took us to the Eisner Awards without telling us it was the Eisner Awards. Next thing I know, I'm stumbling into the Eisner Awards. You guys started getting bored, and I was on the edge of my seat the whole entire time.
2008 recipient of the Will Eisner Spirit of Comics Retailer Award.
I didn't achieve that goal 5 years after the documentary for one simple reason: doubt. It was completely possible. It was completely achievable.
That's not an unrealistic dream.
Well, if I want it hard enough, I'm going to go for it.
So we turn to this year, the 15th.
I feel like I have ideas that were good enough to be on that stage. It's about being a part of that community and being recognized and creating something that means something to other people as much as it means to me. If you were to ask me today if I could be on the stage 5 years from now, yes, I believe it's possible for me to be on the stage 5 years from now. Do you think you will be on the stage 5 years from now? I don't know. I'm not as vigorous and fearless as I once was, but the most important part is that I haven't given up on wanting that sort of self-success.
We were honored in 2005 to be the 2005 Eisner Award recipient for Best Store in the World. All right, back in 1987, one of the things we wanted to promote was reading, and so consequently what we did was use comic books as Halloween treats instead of candy, and our theme has always been kind of rot your brain, not your teeth, and so instead of getting a piece of candy, we gave out a free comic book to encourage kids how to read. And then several years ago, about 7 years ago, the concept for Free Comic Book Day was started.
And as it played out, we did accomplish our goals.
Put buttons anywhere.
And we wanted to interview celebrities, which we did.
My car, on the roof of my car, so I can look at them as I drive on all of my lanyards.
This is Claire's swag bag.
This is my favorite part so far. Look at this. It's the Star Wars Galaxy map.
You went too.
Swag is free stuff given by companies to promote something. And swag is all around us. It's free stuff. Junk stuff. Free junk is all collectible.
Oh, very clever, Worf. Eat any good books lately?
If I said that there would be a person that Mario would just click with, especially in an interview, it would definitely be John Delancey. So it was kind of magical that happened.
Aaron wanted to make connections for art.
Aaron is, I guess, having his portfolio looked at.
I think just meeting the artists themselves really gave me an interest in that general area of creativity. It was amazing between the sculpture and the drawings, the artists, and there was a lot there, other than the actors and things, which was interesting enough.
It gives them an opportunity to carry something, because people don't want to walk around someplace, especially in a convention, and not have anything carried. It doesn't look like they bought anything or they have anything or they're worth anything. So if you have some swag, it's an opportunity to make you look like and feel like you are somebody. If you got some swag, that means you got a bag. And if you got a bag, you got to put something in that bag. And that's what we're here to supply. I'm enjoying the hell out of this.
Celebrities remind us that they're human, but through that aspect, they make us believe in greater aspects of ourselves. And that can be really addictive.
That's what I'm talking about, timing. You wait and something amazing happens, okay? So you don't know. 1 minute you're just standing there, and the next minute Quentin Tarantino walks by.
But these people work very hard. So go up and talk to some of these people if you're allowed, and, you know, have conversations. We just got tons of interviews that we never would have gotten if we didn't just have the gumption just to go up and ask. Lauren wanted to make connections and meet one of his favorite comic book artists.
Waiting about 3 years to talk to Timothy Bradstreet about a tattoo design that he did for a character in a comic book. I met with him. He was busy doing autographs, so I'm going to go back and talk to him at Artist Alley.
Adrian was working as a photographer.
This vest is supposed to be known by everyone that I am an employee and that I do work here, but I do not know where the bathrooms are at.
This is like the crack. First little bit's free. What I was come to understand is there's going to be free stuff that they give away, and some of the stuff that were featured this year that was not here last year apparently are hookers and blow. So we're gonna go check it out and get some of that. Oh, sweet. Is it a combo ticket, or do you need one for hookers and one for blow?
And we just saw Lloyd Kaufman in probably one of the best panels I've ever seen. Very funny, very engaging, and very nice to the other panelists. I thought, not rude to the question askers. He asked a question, he asked a question. I really like that.
For those that have made a short film, how do you get it out there without trying to compete with, you know, the guy gets kicked in the groin, you know, home video, versus the actual spent some money and produced a fine product?
We hire a lot of people in our company, and we're willing to take chances on new people. And the way that we find those people are through short films.
If you set out with a hard, fast end goal and nothing else will do, you are going to have disappointment. But if you open yourself out to the journey that lies ahead, magic happens.
Movies are about magic, and they would agree. Okay, so maybe someday we'll get to talk to them, okay? And now I'm starting to talk like Quentin, okay? Oh, here the people go. They've been waiting 2 hours for signatures.
Any project that gets done is a miracle. So the fact that we finished all of those documentaries, and we finished Surge of Power, Revenge of the sequel, and all these other projects, so many, dozens of projects have been done since. It's a miracle.
If I want it hard enough, I'm going to go for it.
Regret in itself is an anchor. It holds us in the past as our physical bodies move forward through time.
I think regret is putting things in the compartments it needs to be in. You don't need to say, I didn't do this and I didn't do that and I'm a failure. No, it's just this one thing didn't work out, and then this thing did work out, and then this other thing didn't work out.
I have shed regret from my life. Everything that happens to me is an experience that must be dealt with. And sometimes the consequences are harsh. And sometimes the damage cannot be fixed. But you make the amends that you can. You gain the attitude that that is not something you want to continue. And you remember that, but you don't carry it around with you.
Regret is a way that I can reflect on my own flaws and how to improve them.
Surge of Power, Revenge of the sequel was quite a journey. It was a very educational journey, and a lot of it was what not to do. In the end, we got a fun film, and it's not exactly the way I would have wanted it. It's not exactly the way Vincent would have wanted it. Again, that goes back to team and collaboration and trying to make the best thing you have with the resources you have.
A lot of goals you have, you might have to sidetrack, put on hold. Even if you do them 10 years later, 20 years later, you might still get them done, and it might make a difference.
I don't believe Adrian had any regrets in his life because he accomplished almost everything he set out to do. So therefore, he had a successful life. He was a very successful person. There were things he probably didn't complete that he wished he had completed, but he was very proud of the documentaries that we didn't give up and we didn't surrender.
Okay, let's get a couple questions. Good idea.
Yes, you can have my hat.
We have Swag in the back now. We just wrapped the screening of Swag Volume 1.
It was quite a success.
You know, in the third act, it was the drive home, which again, did not go as expected.
Need a map. How hot is it?
Despite all that, we're like, no, we're continuing on with our journey.
How can I shape regret and turn it into a positive? Shortly after the documentary, I was working for the University of Utah, which a lot of the equipment that we were using at the con was the University of Utah's equipment that I did not have permission for. But what are they going to do, fire me 12 years later? Fuck them, they laid me off. I regret that I doubted myself, but I needed to, and just regretting it wouldn't change it. When I got laid off, decided to move into a field that was completely and utterly unstable. I became a bartender, and I lived in this world where the instant moment is what mattered. It wasn't the long-term goals, it wasn't the long-term dreams. And in a way, I ironically became the people that were at the convention going for those feeding frenzies, those hordes. I was spending moments on trying to achieve instantaneous goals or excitement. Got me nowhere.
The regret is only as powerful as you put energy into it. If you don't put energy into the regret, then it loses power.
5 minutes could have changed our whole entire trip. If we delayed ourselves 5 minutes or went a little bit earlier, anything. The simple fact that our trip was within the first 2 minutes of getting in the car and on the freeway.
We could sport our colors, yo.
Reflecting is always good because you can look at the way your friends did things and the way people you worked with have done things, and the way you've done things or haven't done things.
Past is just that, it's history, and just like a history book, you can revisit it for the education that it gives you, but you don't want to be reliving it.
We're meant to break down. Entropy is the overriding force that defines time, which is the one thing that we can't stop. A reflection of our regrets is what helps propel us and keeps us with our physical bodies moving forward through time.
So looking back on everything, these documentaries we made and these things we accomplished and these people we met, and we met a lot of cool people.
I did meet Jason Statham and he did kiss me, so I'm happy enough.
You got a free kiss from Jason Statham.
That's freaking right.
We interviewed all kinds of celebrities who aren't necessarily celebrities anymore, but they show up at these comic conventions, and you can go up and talk to most of these people. Not all of them, but most of them, and hear their stories.
Greetings from Tromaville. I'm Lloyd Kaufman, president of Troma Entertainment and creator of The Toxic Avenger. Oh, Troma. We're a 33-year-old independent movie studio. In the history of cinema, there has never been a independent movie studio that has existed for 33 years without ever having had a hit. I'll show you some very special footage. We're editing a movie called Poultrygeist. It's an exact shot-by-shot remake of the great Black Man in a Boat epic by Steven Spielberg, Armistead. Except that instead of the boat, we've used a fast food chicken establishment, and instead of the black man, we have Indian chicken zombies. That is good news. That Lloyd Kaufman, he's an amazing guy.
We take no responsibility if you pee yourself. Lots of fun. Are you handing me a microphone? You want me to talk into the microphone? No. Can you hear me? I can. Lauren, hi Lauren, how are you?
So how are you doing today, Tony?
I'm doing fabulous.
Are you taping the sequel to Swag?
The trequel.
The trequel?
Yes.
Swag Volume 3. The Volume 3. Because remember, Swag is not just a free giveaway. Swag is a marketing piece.
I like to pay for stuff. I don't like to get anything for free.
Gratitude is the aspect of reflection when dealing with regret that will allow you to free yourself of the anchor that's holding you back. It's also the thing that will connect to the present, that will allow you to be happy in the moment despite things that you may not be happy with. And gratitude, without a doubt, is the most important thing if you want to move forward into the future. I'm grateful that I went on that journey. I'm grateful that I experienced those things. It's odd to say that I'm grateful for being lost in a desert with a bunch of guys realizing that we wasted a lot of our time.
How good is that? It doesn't look very good to me. It goes up to needles, and then goes back here, backtracks, and basically you're on 15. Yeah, and I think 15 can give us.
I fell asleep. I thought you guys had it covered.
No, it's all right. It's down here.
Really not a lost journey until we left town and wound up in Yuma. How many miles out of the way was that?
It was because of a navigational error by myself.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was about 200 miles out of our way.
Wow. Yeah, that got hot.
When you go back to everything, it's that experience that is what matters, not what we physically brought back to our homes.
It's in fucking hell. This whole fucking place should be sold back to Mexico.
When the breeze is hot, you know it's hot.
I'm getting in the car to cool down.
Can we go now?
Is he still buying a fucking bandana? What does he need for a bandana for?
I heard a quote one time, if you want to hear God laugh, make a plan.
In the car.
It's so incredibly frustrating to realize that our 12-hour drive hasn't started yet. Unbelievable.
Unprecedented is what it fucking is.
It's unfucking precedented. I mean, within...
You know, everything goes out of your control and you just get to witness the ongoing results and the legacy of those decisions, and you can decide if those were avoidable and how to make better choices in the future.
What does matter is the fact that superhero and comic book movies have all gotten so popular that I believe my friend Vincent Roth's movies are about to get a resurgence. And the fact that he has the first out gay superhero ever on film, he's using that. He's been using that for years, and he should, because it's important. Working on important films is nice. Working in the film industry, a lot of things you work on, you go to the next thing, you don't even remember you worked on it. But I remember a lot of my sets, my favorite sets I've ever worked on. And although Surge of Power, Revenge of the Sequel was very difficult to get through, and it's not the way that you should make movies, we got it done. Thanks to Vincent and his energy, we got it done. Oh, money helps too.
Gratitude, they say, is always one of the elements to success, in that gratitude keeps your mindset positive enough to continue with your focus.
We were talking about the hero's journey earlier. I think that Lucas personified it in the simplest fashion with this right here, and I used it as a reference point to remind me of how that journey can become something. I know that if I give it to Mario, it will be cherished and loved. Also, this is probably the most important version of this because it's analog, but it's completely and untouched by hands of Lucas later.
Laserdisc, laser video disc was supposed to take over. In the age of VHS, they're like, what's next? Oh, a thing that looks like a record. That'll hit. Okay, I appreciate this as a gift. This is my swag for the day. And thank you for your time.
Jungle Boogie, Jungle Boogie, come on now, Jungle Boogie, yeah. You crazy! You're crazy! You're a psycho! Watch out for that pedestrian! Watch yourself! Walk now!
See, this is the kind of stuff we go to Comic-Cons and we see all these things that people have been hunting for, you know, years.
Oh, you know, this white dragon they had at Comic-Con.
Oh, things are falling.
These are on the repair list as well. Good grief, where's the journey or adventure? Is something that's basically my philosophy as far as my approach to life. It's always trying something new, something different.
I got some that was awesome. Books. I like books. especially the ones that have a lot of pictures in it. Pictures are good.
So when I think about that journey, and I think about teamwork and working together, accomplishing the goal, be it going to Europe and traveling with a loved one, or going on any kind of family trip. It's all a journey and it's all a goal. Sometimes when you drive from Salt Lake City to San Diego, it goes well, and sometimes it doesn't.
It doesn't look very good to me.
You have to band together. And I think it really taught me a lot about teamwork and saying we're going to do something and getting through it.
Made it to San Diego, and I'm on set of my friend Jason Velasco's spec trailer for a series called PTSD. It's what you do in the film industry. You just go one thing to another. And Jason's a very good friend of mine, so happy to help out. First AD for him today.
Making a film, getting through a day on set, trying to do this particular thing in 12 hours every day of film, or a music video, or a commercial, or a TV show. It's all about, you start at the beginning and then you go to the end, and you have to get through it. And how can you get through it? Can you get through it alone? You can't. So we couldn't have gotten back from our journey without each other.
Yeah, right there.
Okay. That was it?
Yep.
Here, would it help if I just went all on it and that's...
And everybody brings a specific skill set or a specific talent or a resource to the table. But once you're in that group, you throw that resource, that talent, into the pool, and now it's the group's resource.
I like the buttons.
There are so many people that we've met along the way that I still communicate with today, and who have gone on their own journeys and who have their own goals that they attained.
The elephant say to the naked man?
I don't know.
Yeah, you look good, but how do you breathe through that thing?
The only way that we can grow is by reflecting. If we live in a moment, we will be stuck in a moment. If we live in the future, we will never do what we need to do today to achieve it. If we live in the past, then we will stay in the past. So we need to use all three of those aspects of time to be at peace and to move in a balanced way. And reflection is the key to using that element of the past.